Oh, much better.
Yeah. There it is, going live.
Hopefully.
All right, now we're live. Okay, guys, what is going on? And welcome to...
Give that man a beer.
Yeah, thank you, our tech guy over there. We should bring you around for a show. Welcome to Campfires on Dagobah. We are so happy that you guys are here. And those watching at home, we're happy that you're tuning in and watching. So definitely give you guys a round of applause for coming in. So thank you guys for tuning in. We got a couple people watching so far. They're loading up. So what we do is we're going to sit here and we're going to talk about everything in the world of Star Wars, which is movies, television shows, comics, thanks to Carter, because he's very knowledgeable about that. And, of course, our all-around feelings about Star Wars. And one thing that we're definitely going to talk about is The Mandalorian and Star Wars Episode 9. One of us already here at the table has seen Star Wars So I'm seeing it tonight, which I'm very excited. But
I beat you.
Yeah. So let's go down the table and introduce who we are. And this is what we do every show. So we'll start with this guy over here to the right of me, left of me. What's your name, man?
I forgot. We've been waiting so long.
Jesus.
No, I am Andrew.
Andrew. I'm Dom Chayota. This is
Chris.
And down here.
I'm Russell.
Russell.
And Carter.
Andy, did you have gray in your beard when we came in?
I don't know, dude.
All right, guys. So let me just go ahead and pull up the show notes here, and we'll be able to rock and roll. Actually, I don't have them anymore.
Oh,
who has the show
Lord
notes?
have mercy.
God. I got them here. I'm just kidding.
Amateur hour.
Yeah.
Man.
Right? So I found an interview that I want to discuss. Something that is actually pretty interesting. And this is by Gary, the original ending when it first came out.
Return of the Jedi.
What did I say? Rise?
Rise.
Return of the Jedi when it originally came out. Chris, do you want to read the there you go. Go ahead and read that for me.
That's it?
Yeah, that's his quote.
Okay. We had an outline and George changed everything in it. Instead of bittersweet and poignant, he wanted a euphoric ending with everybody happy. The original idea was that they were going to recover the kidnapped Han Solo in the early part of the story, and that he would then die in the middle part of the film in a raid on the Imperial base.
You're afraid to shout out and say your favorite
Be
part.
loud.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Why do you love Return of the Jedi?
It's super nostalgic. I was born in the 70s, so I saw Star Wars. I had to wait forever to see Empire, then I had to wait forever to see Return of the Jedi, and Return kind of wrapped it all up. And I remember just being a kid, I was just fascinated with the whole storyline. And as Darth Luke's father, is what's going to happen here? What happened to Han? And answered all those questions, and just the confirmation of seeing Luke as a Jedi, he's a full-blown Jedi now, and his father, and he has the truth. And it's just, to me, it's just epic, and it wraps it all up. And I remember I was so excited when I was a kid. I remember waiting outside the theater around the building. And, it's just a wonderful experience. I remember it's one of my most vivid experiences I've had. I can remember that more than most things from my childhood.
Right.
It stuck with me, and it means a lot. Yeah, I just love it.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
How many times did you see it in theaters?
In the theaters, I was too young to do things on my own, so I just kind of could go when my parents would let me. But I only saw it like a couple of times in the theater, but I've seen it a million times. Came out on DVD, I bought it. Every time, I'm kind of a donkey. Every time Lucasfilms or somebody releases the extended disc, and I saw them in the theaters, and every time they bring it out in the theater, I watch it again. I go to the theater every time they re-release all of them. I go watch the whole trilogy every time they re-release them. And I buy the DVDs and the Blu-rays every time they re-release them, so that I just can't help myself.
That's how they get you.
Yeah, they got my money every time.
I cut school that day with my grandpa and saw it 3 times.
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cut school.
There you go.
Wow.
With his grandpa.
Saw 3 times in the theater.
In a row, yeah.
Jesus. Wow. That's amazing.
I went to a midnight showing of Revenge of the Sith the day before my last senior final of high school.
There you go.
Very.
I was in 6th grade when I saw The third, episode 3. I know.
Youngster.
I'm that young.
How old were you when you saw Return of the Jedi?
I was in 3rd grade. So,
About 19 years old?
yeah.
Wow.
10 or 11, yeah.
So, what is one thing after hearing this?
I agree with what he said about the toys because a lot of, I was so stoked about all the aliens in Jabba's palace and all of those toys. They didn't really have the technology like now how they came out with. I wish I had the money, but like they have Jabba's sail barge now, but for what they were working with back then, the toys were a huge part of it.
Oh, yeah.
I keep seeing it in Walmart. I want to buy that Lego Slave One.
Yeah.
I want it so bad.
Well, imagine back then, like what you were just talking about. Imagine back then, you got Han Solo going into the 3rd movie, and like George wanted to kill him, or what's his name wanted to kill him off. George is like, no. What about a little kid that wants to go and buy the toy? And they're like, why would I want to buy? Why do I want that gift of somebody that's already dead?
It would have been devastating for kids, but that's also what
The kids still would have
Harrison
bought it.
Ford wanted.
Oh, yeah.
He wanted to be killed off.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he says in the documentary Empire
Dreams.
Empire Dreams. Thank y'all. He talks about in the documentary that the reason why he wanted to be cut off because he had no ties. He's like, Han Solo's not related to nobody.
Right.
He's just kind of in the middle, in between, and all that. Leia will find somebody else if something happened or whatever. Chewie's there to look after and all that. He said he felt like there was nothing that would tie him together to the whole story.
He just had to wait
Yeah.
30 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man! All right, so that was awesome. That's awesome that you saw it 3 times in one sitting.
We stayed at the theater, just went back.
So
We paid once. We just
You movie hop.
I'm assuming y'all are married.
soon.
Oh, okay. Have you seen all the movies?
Oh, absolutely, yes. I mean, I was probably 1st grade when I saw it, but my parents had me watch everything. Every time it was on TV, it's never old.
yep.
My dad took us to the special edition releases back in the 90s. Midnight showings every time. I remember the first one, the only time I've ever been
Sorry, Andy.
like ushered to my seat at a movie theater. And like they start up the movie, and before the movie they show the preview for Empire. The student in front of us, he's in full Han Solo outfit. And he stands up, first time he sees Chewbacca, he stands up, he goes, Chewie! I'll never forget that, ever, as long as I live.
So the people at home watching are saying that our connection is back to being Minecraft.
No.
I'm sorry, we're jumping in and out of being Minecraft. That is because we're at a location where 1 minute the internet is amazing and then the internet is not as well. So I apologize on that. But those of you who are watching live, you get to watch us in HD, I guess, or whatever.
Unless you have bad eyesight.
Unless you have bad eyesight like me,
Right.
which is why I took my glasses off. Which kind of leads us into our next topic, and that is how Star Wars changed our lives, and how do you think Star Wars changed the world around us? So who wants to take this first? Who wants to go first?
I'll go. I mean, it definitely changed the way movies are seen and made. I mean, if you didn't have Star Wars, you wouldn't have these big budget blockbusters with huge CGI effects like any of the Marvel movies. The Lord of the Rings wouldn't exist. Like all of these big, huge, multi-million-dollar franchises, with the huge special effects, they wouldn't exist.
Okay. I dig that.
Agreed.
I agree
I think it's
100%.
Just a big culture change for us. I mean, you see so many cultural references. People, talk about the Force all the time, or characters, from the movie and stuff. So it's ingrained in our, lives, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah.
How about you, Andy?
Oh, yeah, there's definitely a pre-Star Wars and a post-Star Wars. And, I mean, when Force Awakens was fixing to come out, I knew it was coming out just because I was in a store somewhere and everything was Star Wars.
Everything.
Every aisle you go down, there's Star Wars Campbell's soup and Star Wars this, Star Wars. I was like, ooh, Star Wars is fixing to come out.
Which you can thank George Lucas for, because the studio didn't want to do merchandising.
So
Studio didn't want to release the movie.
Yeah.
So, Chris,
Yeah.
you are a huge Star Wars fan.
That's saying it lightly.
That is very lightly. How has Star Wars changed your life?
I mean, I think all the grown men in here would probably say after they saw the Star Wars movie, they probably wanted to go outside with a little stick, pretend that they were Luke Skywalker and all that. And my dad did that to me. I was outside one day and he's like, "What you doing?" I was like, "Oh, this is my lightsaber and all that." He's like, "Yeah, but there's no color on it." He goes, "It's in my head, Dad. It's in my head." I'd make the sounds, and he's all right. He got the camcorder, went outside, started videotaping me and everything. He's like, "What you about to do?" I was like, "I'm gonna go take on Darth Vader." And he's like, "All right, go for it." And I still got some. I still got the original VHS box set and all that somewhere in storage.
Yep.
It's crazy because, I mean, you're probably a little bit older than I am. Well, because I was born in '83 when Return of the Jedi came out. And I remember growing up in the '80s, my dad would always tell me there's not a whole lot of Star Wars stuff going on. There was no shows. There was nothing. It was like maybe a few comics here and there, a few books here and there. The toys were kind of just like idling, I mean, stuff. It kind of died off a little bit in the '80s. Like there wasn't anything going on, and everyone was always wondering when we're going to get something else. And then when I heard the announcement from my dad in the mid '90s that Episode 1 and all them were going to come, I was like, I didn't know what to think. I was like, wow, this is crazy. We're actually going to get And then when the title first came out, Phantom Menace, I had no idea what the title was. I was like, what does that mean? He goes, "Oh, I think it means this." And then they talked about it on the news. I was like, I have no idea what the Phantom Menace means. Now I do, but
What does the Phantom Menace mean?
It's talking about the Emperor.
Yeah. So Star Wars has really changed my life as an individual. I'm sure with you guys out there, your first love, Carrie Fisher, she was my first love. I mean, I was a little bit of a nerd growing up, and I used to be in theater and dance and all that stuff. So I got picked on a lot. So Star Wars was my way of escape into a galaxy far, far away, not to be cheesy. It's just something about Star Wars that really brings you in. And even when Star Wars is bad, me as a Star Wars fan, I'm still able to forgive it, because there's just something about that. I don't know how to describe it. Force, nostalgia, force. I guess if I'm going to say that. Anything Star Wars, really, I'm just a sucker for it.
Who doesn't chills when they see the twin suns?
Yeah, the music.
And the music. I mean, the duel of the fates.
Now,
The music for the Mandalorian. What do you think about that?
I love it.
I like it.
It's good.
Yeah,
It's good. It's different.
Yeah.
it needed to be different because they had to have a different atmosphere.
It feels like it's got more of a
Sorry.
spaghetti western
very
kind of like
Western.
tone to it.
so let me ask you guys this: how has Star Wars changed your life? I know you said you've seen the movie 3 times, and the way you feel. How has Star Wars changed your life, Chris?
That's tough to exactly say. Star Wars is pretty much. I can't imagine my life without it.
Really?
Really.
Okay.
Chris is the guy that, as nerds in high school or middle school, we got cornered by some football players,
Mm.
and they're giving us shit. And one of the guys, we knew most of them. One of the guys, he was kind of friendly with me. He's like, "Don't worry, man. We're just messing with you." And at this exact moment, Chris calls this guy that they had kind of a contentious friendship or whatever, calls him a nerf herder. And I mean, the timing was perfect. He's like, don't worry, man. We're just messing with you. And I hear in the background, "You nerf herder." And this guy was like, "What did you call me?" And I was like, and then the other guy turns and he goes, "Well, maybe it's getting a little serious." So I was like, I don't remember what happened. Eventually, it all died down. But that's a story that I'll never forget, and I tell to all my Star Wars friends. It's like, yeah, my homeboy, he's hardcore Star Wars.
Did you know what it was when you first saw it? Did you realize what was going
I
on?
remember seeing the original Star. I remember the first 2 movies that I remember seeing is Alien and Star Wars in the theater. And I mean, I can't remember my life without Star Wars. I remember when I remember getting the original the card from Sears
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't have the figures.
Oh,
Yeah.
You had one of those?
Yeah.
Oh,
and then,
dope.
And then I remember getting the figures. I think it was like in January or February.
Yeah, you had to wait.
And I mean, like I said, I was lucky. I was a spoiled kid, so I had all of the toys. And I mean, I really can't remember. I remember when we would go on vacation, I would bring my favorite action figures with me, and I really can't remember my life without Star Wars. I was going into first grade when Empire came out, and I still remember seeing that in the theater. And,
Man.
yeah,
Empire.
I
That
can't
must have been.
remember my life without it.
My mom gave all my Star Wars toys away.
I remember watching.
Why is that funny?
It's funny.
Space
Not funny, it's
1999 and stuff like that on
Mine
TV.
sold in the garage
And it
sale.
was like what Lucas did was
You
just
forgot my phone.
next level.
Right.
Like,
I didn't.
you know, bringing it all together.
All right, I have to ask the two ladies real quick. What was your first introduction to Star Wars? Was it the prequels or the original trilogy? The original? The original?
Oh, did Roger leave?
Yeah, you gotta go, I guess.
Ah.
She likes the puppet.
So you prefer the practical effects, like when it's actually there. And
Right.
Pass me
Yeah.
a napkin. Napkin?
So do I.
Yeah. a lot of people said they didn't like the digital Yoda flipping around in the prequels. And he's like, no.
When I saw that fight though, I was like, wow,
That's cool.
it blew me away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the one with him and the Emperor, but not the one with Dooku.
Right.
So,
There you go.
do you recognize this Yoda behind us?
Well, it used to be at Bankston, didn't it?
Yeah. Yep. So, so the first time I walked in at Bankston, I saw this Yoda, my wife and I knew instantly this is what I wanted.
Right.
And every time I went in there, I always said, "Hey, I'm going to buy this Yoda."
You just bought it. Didn't you?
Well,
Because I've seen it in there for a while.
yeah, it
I
was.
walked
So
in there the other day and I was like, "Where's the Yoda?" And they're like, "We sold it." And I was like,
I'm the guy that they sold it to. I'm the lucky nerf herder, I guess. So for my 27th birthday, my wife bought it for me. I guess she's been saving up. I've been noticing money going from the account, but I don't know what she's been doing with it. So she bought it. She gets me all hyped up, like, "Hey, today we finally have enough. Let's go buy Yoda." And the whole way there, I'm talking about, "Oh man, we can put it at our front door when people walk in. We can sit over here." Side note, it sits right next to my bed on my nightstand. That's where it sits. She hates it there. I don't. I love it. So every morning I wake up, I see Yoda. But
Gee, I wonder why she hates it there.
Makes
Yeah.
married life very awkward.
it's fun. She tells me, "Can we please turn it the opposite way?" I'm like, "No, it gives me force powers, you know."
Okay.
But so we're on our way to Bankston's, and she's filming me, and she's getting me all hyped up. So we get to Bankston's, and she tells me to go inside first, and she vapes, so she wanted to sit outside and vape. Apparently, from the time I got to the car, maybe you can tell me if this is right. She called the store.
Yeah, she
From-
called and says,
Yeah, from the time I walk into Bankston, so we pull up right there in front. You know, that's not a long walk. It's 3 seconds, if that. So
Yeah.
from the time we pulled up and I get out of the car and go inside, she calls, talks to Carter, and tells him what?
"Don't say anything."
Yeah, don't say anything. Say that we sold it or whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
So I walk in, and I'm so excited, and I notice Yoda's gone.
He
Have
was,
noticed it right away too.
Yeah.
he was devastated.
I was on the verge. When I say I was on the verge of tears, I was literally about to break
He
down.
was.
And I was like, "Where the heck is Yoda? Did you move him?" No. And Carter says, "No, we sold him." I was like, "What do you mean we sold him?"
He also had some guy from out of town.
Yeah, out of town.
Drove him.
So I was upset and devastated. Like, I was on the verge of crying. That's how upset I was.
It was so hard to just keep a straight face.
Yeah, he lied to me. A couple months go by, and I started doing this podcast and inviting Carter along. And we go to POPPA ROLLOS. Well, we come here. And I pull up my phone during the show as everybody's talking, and I notice Yoda is in Dallas at an event for the orchestra of Star Wars that they were doing. I was like, Are you kidding me? And I showed it to Carter, and I was like, Is is this him? Is this the guy who you sold it to?
Yoda?
Right. And it was the same, almost the same exact. I guess it was the same exact one.
Could been.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, could have. Yeah, that could be him. Oh man, I was upset. I was so upset. Fast forward to my birthday, and then there it is. Come out of the bedroom, sitting in the living room. I cried. I'm not gonna lie, I cried like a child. Still brings tears to my eyes. But
You sent me some dirty text after you found out. Like, you liar, you SOB, you know.
yeah.
Carter, you lied to me.
So we got some people typing in. Somebody asked, Russell, are you okay? You doing okay over there?
Yeah.
Somebody said you look sad.
I usually look sad.
So somebody also asked Andy, share the pizza. So I guess somebody wants some pizza. Another person said Carter, aka ? Hank. So
We're not doing that now.
oh man. So that's some fun questions that we got going on. Let me pull up what we have next.
I have a question
Sure.
to our audience members. Okay, when Phantom Menace came out, who stood in line to buy tickets? Of course, this was pre-ticket sales or internet or very beginning of the internet or whatever. I know I did. Chris did. Anybody else? No. You did too?
Yeah, we waited in line.
I mean, the day that the tickets went on sale.
Yeah.
Went on sale,
Yeah.
We were there in the morning.
Yeah.
Which theater? Was that in Houston or was it here?
It was in California.
Okay.
I think,
Oh,
Ooh, that would've been
I saw
crazy.
it,
Mm.
Saw it a couple times. I saw it at the Man Chinese. I think that was
Oh,
the
really?
second time I
Oh.
saw it.
but that's cool.
We saw it in San Fernando Valley. We waited. I remember when it was by Tower Records. The line went all the way around.
Power
Oh,
records.
man.
Wow.
I was on TV for like maybe a second and a half because I remember we were sitting. It was the Starplex then. It's the AMC now.
Yeah.
Galaxy.
We were sitting down.
Y'all are from Waco? Y'all are from Waco?
Yeah, we're from Houston, but lived
Houston.
here for-
Is anybody
Oh,
here?
okay.
Anybody here from Philly?
No,
No.
no, don't.
Just
Nobody's
me.
from Philly.
Okay. Real quick before we go anywhere, I do have to ask Jen why she's holding out on Elliot's Pizza. So I have to ask you that. Why are you holding out on Elliot's Pizza? Somebody told me to ask you that. But anyway, I'm sorry. I don't know. I got a message. Somebody
What
told
the
me.
hell?
Somebody said
Calling
ask
out.
ask Jen about the Elliot's Pizza and why she's holding out. That's what somebody told me to ask her. So
That's just
Stick with Star Wars. Stick with Star Wars.
I don't know.
I geeked out. I was really excited about it. And I grew up with this, one of my best friends in Houston. We grew up together and watched it all together and like that. And he called me and said that he got tickets and wanted me to come see it with him. And he had, invited me to go to the opening premiere thing in Houston and stuff like that. I didn't get to go. So I missed out on, that's like what I missed out on. I didn't get to see it. But I was really excited to hear it. And I asked him what he thought about every song. We talked on the phone. And he kind of told me a little bit about it. And he just had like the special effects. They're just like completely different from the other ones. So it's just like part of like a lot of eye candy. Kind of like a special visual effects. They kind of told me a little bit about it, but I didn't actually get to see it open. Maybe a few weeks later or something. I went to go see it with my wife, and so we were able to get to see whatever it opens. So that's how it.
What'd you think the
Okay, so even today, like anytime I see a Star Wars preview in the theater, I freak out.
Yeah.
And instead,
Long time ago in the galaxy far, far away. Yeah.
Yeah, every time I just get chills every time. And I still do. So I was just, when I first saw the preview to it, I was really, really, really excited. But when I actually saw the movie, I guess I was a little bit, I really enjoyed it and had a lot of fun, but there was some things about it I just didn't
Yeah.
like. The Jar Jar thing,
I think about that first teaser and it still gives me chills.
Oh, yeah.
Where it says like, every saga has to have a beginning or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, just that right now.
Yes.
I just got that little chill thing right now. Really, I'm serious.
First time I saw it with my dad,
Yeah.
halfway through it, I passed out.
Yeah.
I fell asleep. He nudged me and woke me up, and I was, I'm sorry, but it's boring, Dad. They're talking about federational government stuff.
I think, the expectation of it, the previous to it, and everything, that was a little bit more, better to me than the movie in some aspects. I think the movie was kind of a little bit of a letdown for me. If you waited so long.
It's a 16-year buildup.
Yeah, and then when you see it, it's hard to live up to that too.
Yes.
I can watch it now and kind of enjoy it a little bit more because I know where it is and I've seen it, so there's no expectations now. I kind of enjoy it now and then, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit, some of the.
See, I said the same thing in a Facebook Live video I did the other night when I was talking about it, when I saw all the reactions coming in from the world premiere, and people were like, some people were hating on it, some people were loving it and all that. The people that were hating on it, I noticed that they were the ones that said that they loved The Last Jedi.
I don't mind The Last Jedi. I enjoy it.
So you're saying there were morons?
Yeah.
Kylo and Rey go up the elevator. If you watch it from that point on, it's a great movie.
Yeah, it is.
That's like halfway through the ending, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Last Jedi has one of my favorite, probably one of my top 5 Star Wars scenes.
The throne room.
What?
The throne room.
Yeah, it's amazing. I freaked out. I felt like a kid again when I saw that, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm watching Star Wars now." I'm watching Star Wars.
So you didn't like the whole PETA adventure that went on?
No.
Canto Bite. Yeah.
Yeah, that one, that throne room thing, just loved it every second of it. Was great.
I have to ask, and I have to ask you guys at home too. Do you guys consider the holiday special to be canon?
I introduced Boba Fett.
That is true.
Yeah.
You did introduce Boba Fett. How about you?
Arthur.
And the Arthur.
I always knew she was an alien.
Yeah,
If you
right.
asked the 4-year-old me, I would have said yes, because I remember when it came out.
Really?
On CBS. That's how much I remember of it. Now, I kind of struggled through the musical numbers.
It presented Life Day.
I'll be honest. I
The
only.
animated sequence was awesome.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I only saw the holiday special like a couple of months ago. I found it delightfully terrible.
Yeah. How about you, Carter?
It's been a long, long time since I've seen that. So, the only thing I can really remember is the animated stuff. So,
So, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, did y'all know that in Return of the Jedi, it wasn't supposed to be the Ewoks, it was supposed to be Wookiees.
right.
It was supposed to be on Kashyyyk and all that. And George Lucas's response for why he didn't go that route is like, they're really big, and I thought it'd be too intimidating to little kids.
Really?
Come
I
on.
heard that
They would have loved it.
because we were already exposed to Chewbacca.
Yeah,
And you knew that a planet full of Chewbaccas would kick the stormtroopers' asses.
yeah. He felt like their plan would be too advanced or whatever.
Yes, I heard he took Wookiee, cut it in half, and made it eat. Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Cut it in birds.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So, one of the treats that I had for you guys tonight on the video on the screen that was supposed to play, but of course everything malfunctions when you're in front of an audience, was the best parts of the holiday special, so that we all can watch and talk about the trippy moments. Like my favorite scene of Chewie's wife and kids and his grandfather, I guess that's what it was. Grandpa Lumpy. Which I have to say, one of my expectations for The Rise of Skywalker, and I will kind of be upset if I don't see it tonight, is Chewie returning home, because it's been years since he's been home to his wife and his kid, and he's kind of holding out on them. And I'm sure there's some what's it called? You have to call it some child support that's overdue. And I guess he missed the burial of his uncle or his grandfather, whoever it is.
Oh, can't wait to talk about Rise of Skywalker.
So I wish I can talk about it too, but I'm seeing it tonight, which is awesome.
Can I sneak
got a
in?
question for you.
Yeah, man.
What, like for the Last Jedi, there's a lot of people that just really don't like it, and I have a lot of problems with it. But you seem to like it pretty well. Like, what
Oh, yeah.
is it about it that, like,
His head hasn't been examined yet.
That is true. I've been having brain seizures.
just like,
No, there's a lot of good in that movie, but there's also a lot of cringing moments. And like I said, I'm a Star Wars fan, so I'm very forgiving when it comes to anything Star Wars. Unlike this guy over here. Yeah, you, Chris.
Hey, I'm one of like 48% in the country.
I love the Yoda scene. Obviously Yoda's my favorite. Yoda's my guy. That really brought me back to Empire with with Luke and Yoda having that interaction. Now it would have been perfect if Ben Kenobi would have popped up and they had that little trio. Wow, a light just got brighter in here. We had that little trio. I love watching Kylo progress in his adventure through the dark side. One of the best things about this trilogy is Kylo, and his attitude and the way he just pops up. Sorry, I'm burping. I don't mind Rey. I feel like she serves a purpose to a certain extent, but what I would love to see is this new trilogy from the perspective of Kylo. And I feel like that's almost how it is, but secretly, the whole Canto Bight scene and Finn and Rose, they really didn't need that. Luke Skywalker, everybody complains that Luke Skywalker was being a baby, and that's not my Luke Skywalker, but
Who said that?
But I mean, it's
I loved crotchety Luke.
yeah. I thought that was pretty cool to see. It's almost like seeing Yoda and Luke fight. For the best example I can give is Yoda was, even though he was portraying being some weird creature or whatever, and no mine, and he's hitting, R2. I kind of see Luke acting that way. I understand that he failed with his nephew, and it's the biggest failure he's faced. I could be wrong. You're making a face.
I'm thinking the same way you're feeling, man.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah, Don, what about that?
I can't get past that. Like, he confronts his father like a man, head on. He believes in his father. He believes he can redeem him, and he senses good in him. But he's going to murder a kid in his sleep.
Well, but yes,
He also says he never sensed power like that.
right. He turned to the dark side for a split second, and he pulled himself out. So I mean,
Now we know what power he was sensing.
I think there's opposing views from Kylo and Luke. What
Yeah.
actually happened,
Yeah.
and
Right?
that
You don't know what the real story.
we don't know the complete story. I don't think.
Yeah, it was like saying you have this side, and somewhere in the middle is the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just Luke's my, I don't know. That made me-
I'm with you. Luke's one of my favorite characters.
Luke's my hero.
Yeah. I can't stand The Last Jedi.
That's my man. Like, Luke is my all-time childhood.
Yeah.
And you mess, it just, I don't know. It just drove me nuts.
The argument I can't stand from people that support The Last Jedi, and I mean, if they want support, that's fine. The argument I get from them all the time on Facebook and stuff is, yeah, but people can change over 30 years. I was like, nah, can they? I was like, you built this character up as like a hero. He represents everything. He had a chance to kill his father. He chose not to.
Yeah.
But yet now you want to make him into a nephew killer. And he quits on the Force. He quits on the rebellion. He doesn't care if his sister's in trouble. He doesn't really care Han's dead. Spoiler alert.
All the evil things that Darth Vader did for years.
Yeah.
Evil things.
Mhm.
Just, and then his nephew has some bad thoughts and or he's got a darkness to him.
Yeah.
He hasn't really said anything, he's got a darkness to him. He left him kill him.
you can
I
tell
don't know.
me.
Like I said, there's two sides to it. Possibly, I hope they redeem it
Yeah.
somehow. But,
I don't. Okay, as a filmmaker, what I want to do, and if anybody wants a copy, I'll send it to you. I want to cut every scene from The Force Awakens to the new trilogy once it comes out on Blu-ray, and just make it all Kylo scenes. Every scene that Kylo's in, kind of cut it, and then add it that way, and kind of have Rey be in the background. Because I just want to see what it looks like from Kylo's perspective, or from the First Order's perspective. Also, real fast, we have another cast member that is going to be joining us. He's running a little late, and he's on his way. So we're going to have to get another chair for Reagan and put him down there. He's a funny guy. He's loud. He's obnoxious. He's got a lot to say. Chris has got a lot to say about it.
No, I actually have a question for the two females. What do y'all think about the character of Rey from a woman's perspective?
This one had her fingers side by there. You know, I mean, I don't.
The reason I asked is because everyone out there, was really mad, like in The Force Awakens and Last Jedi, when they're like, "Oh my God, does she fail at anything?" Because a lot of fans thought that they were making her too perfect. Like she doesn't have any flaws, And even George said that when The Force Awakens came out, his one criticism was he goes, it's too retro. Rey's like nothing like Luke. Luke failed. He didn't know this. He had to learn this and all that. And sympathize with her because she didn't seem human.
At the end of the movie, she has a lightsaber battle with Kylo Ren and beats him, even though she's had a week maybe of training and he's had a lifetime of it.
Yeah,
that's stupid.
How'd y'all feel
Are
about
you
it?
able to shift down a little bit? I'll tell you when.
Maybe like 6 inches.
Yeah, not all the way out. We were just trying to get Reagan in here somewhere.
I will say this: there's a lot
All
going
right,
on
we're
in
good.
Rise of Skywalker. There's a lot.
So
How long is that movie?
It's about 220.
Okay, to play
You
devil's
get her
advocate-
backstory. You get her backstory. You'll find it. You find out who she is, and you find out where she comes from. Finally.
Whoops. To play devil's advocate for Luke, I can see it from both sides. Yeah, he saw the good in his father, but at the same
It's
time,
nowhere near
as,
the actual. It's just a cord. It's not the.
as the guy responsible for training him, he looks in. He can sense the dark side. He looks in and he sees obviously something that he doesn't like, and for a split second, he's thinking, okay, I could end it right here, right now. But, from Luke's point of view, which I'm hoping is the right point of view, he sits there and he looks and he's like, what am I doing? And at that point, that's when Kylo wakes up and then, it all goes to heck. But yeah, I can see where you're coming from. It's like, Luke wouldn't, our Luke wouldn't do that. Yeah, I understand where you're
Luke
coming from.
also has the arc in the entire
Yeah.
prequels. He starts off as the whiny little kid that's like, I don't want to go to the doctor station.
Great impression. Great impression.
And he ends up fighting Darth Vader, who's his father.
Yeah.
It's a huge arc. He covers all emotional ranges. And I don't think they used Mark Hamill to his full potential in the new trilogy.
I'm glad you brought that up because Mark Hamill was asked in an interview recently.
that is true.
What?
What you were saying?
Okay. You don't even know what I'm talking about.
He was asked in an interview recently.
Yeah, he was asked in an interview recently. What was it like keeping the secret of Darth Vader being your father for so long? And he told the guy, he goes, I had to keep it for a year and a half. I couldn't even tell my wife and all that. And he goes, what was it like? He goes, how did it happen? He said, on that page there was nothing. It just said Luke, or it said Mark Hamill. It said director, this and all that. It was just like a couple people. There's no dialogue. Yeah. And he said that the director Irvin Kershner came to his trailer, sat him down, and said, "Okay, I got to tell you something. I don't know how you're going to react, but if there's only 3 people that know. I know, the producer knows, and George Lucas knows." He goes, and if it gets out, then we'll know it was you that leaked it. He goes, "What?" And he goes, the scene, because the original idea that George wanted it to be shot as, it was going to be the truth about your father. Obi-Wan killed your father, and they were going to make it turn like, does Obi-Wan lie the whole time? And that's when he tells Luke, he goes, "No, we're gonna say he's your father." And all that, and it was like, and he was like, "Why?" He goes, "Well, search your feelings. It's true." And they felt like it was a better way to go because it was like, what? Maybe it'll manipulate him to the dark side.
Come over this
And
way.
then he said that there were a lot of questions at the time, like, going into the next movie with a 3-year cliffhanger is like, he goes, "Well, what if the fans think he's lying?"
Snuggle in.
So yeah, I thought that was interesting that he had said that he said he didn't know how it was going to affect anything, and he's like, man, he goes, you imagine keeping a secret like that now? He's like, woo, yes.
So we have somebody new to the table that is part of our group, and you're gonna have to speak up one for the mic, and so the audience members can see you.
All right.
Introduce
Reagan.
yourself. Oh, what?
What?
Introduce yourself.
I'm Reagan. And Star Wars is cool, I guess.
Get out of here, man. Get out of here.
It's okay.
Real fast. So Reagan, we talked about why Star Wars is important to us, and one thing that we really love. What do you love about Star Wars? Why does it speak to you so much?
So when I was 5, my dad showed me Star Wars, and he used to wake me up in the morning. He had a Darth Vader mask. So he'd wake me up with the Darth Vader mask, and he'd say, "Reagan, I am your father," and then I'd roll out of bed and have a lightsaber fight. So
That's awesome, dude.
So yeah, I'm just like
Way better than what my dad used to do. He poured cold marbles into my bed. I'm not kidding. He kept a jar of marbles in the freezer.
Jesus.
That's probably because you wouldn't get up.
Jar of marbles.
Yep, it worked.
Whoa, where did he go? I just realized
shrunk.
Chris disappeared.
What?
Yeah. All right.
Where did he go?
So is everybody caught up on The Mandalorian?
No.
No?
Oh,
What?
Oh,
And
man.
you call yourself Star Wars fan?
That's okay. I'm not caught up either. I don't own Disney Plus.
next episode comes out tomorrow.
That is
Yeah.
true.
Night.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Or is
So
it tonight? Is it
Night.
tonight?
3 a.m.
why? 3 a.m.
Tomorrow.
Usually drops around 3 a.m.
The last one dropped at 2 a.m.
So
yeah,
I'm gonna
it's
need
2
your
a.m. So it's midnight. It's midnight West Coast.
Everybody stays.
So I'm gonna need your address and I'm coming over because
We
then
also have a movie theater in our house.
get out.
It's a small one.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
that's
cool.
where we watch it.
Really?
My bedroom used to be a media room.
That's amazing.
No, it was
Um,
like, it sucked because like no light got in there. It was awful. The walls were painted
Carter,
brown.
somebody asked if you're okay. You look kind of sad.
I'm fine.
You're okay? All right.
Why
They
does
said-
everybody think we're sad and depressed
I don't
today?
know.
That's the sad end of the table. This is the happy end of the table.
So
It's, like, dark, light, and balance.
yeah, dark light and balance.
They all look dark to
Nice.
me. except-
Very nice.
Did you? I was gonna ask. Did you steal that jacket from work?
No, it's my jacket.
Oh, that's yours.
It's not even an inch.
Damn, just accuse him out on YouTube like that.
Well, that one's mine. I'm just kidding.
Am I touching you? No.
That ain't yours.
Okay.
All right. So you're caught up on The Mandalorian.
Yes, I
I'm caught up.
You are.
I caught
You're
up this
caught
afternoon.
You're
I'm-
caught up.
I'm
You're
caught up.
You're caught up.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course
You
I
are?
am.
All right. I'm the only one that's not caught up at this table. But who wants to start off with talking about everything up to this point in The Mandalorian?
Let's go to them first. Have y'all seen it?
Yes.
Like it?
Love it.
Love it?
Haven't seen it.
Haven't seen
I've
it?
seen like the first 3 episodes.
Oh, okay.
Okay. How about you, Chris?
Wow, love it.
Love it?
Yes.
All right. We'll start this way and then work our way down.
Okay.
Reagan, overall thoughts so far up to this point in The
I
Mandalorian?
think it's pretty good. Came out really strong. I don't want to say I'm getting bored with it, but I want the story to
Progress?
go somewhere.
Okay.
Because the past 3 episodes, it's just kind of like horizontal movement.
Kind of like Monster of the Week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
treading
I mean, it's
water.
good. It's entertaining, and I like it a lot because it's more Star Wars. But I wish it would go somewhere. And I don't know where that somewhere is, but something
You
new.
feel like the trailers and stuff misled you to how the
No, because I didn't really watch the trailers for it, but the first 2 episodes they introduce Baby Yoda, and then they're like, "Well, this is a very important thing that needs to be protected," and he's been protecting them, but he's been protecting them and doing other things too, and he's not taking them anywhere, and he's not really doing anything with them, and he's just kind of like, "You're mine now." And like,
You're
are you gonna
mine
take
now.
him to somebody, or like, I don't know. I want to see what happens with him, but we're not learning anything more about him, and it's just kind of
I got the feeling when
What's
I
the
first
bad guy
saw the
this week?
trailers that it was going to be like a story.
Yeah.
But then after I saw the first couple episodes, I'm starting to feel like it's supposed to be like serials, like old time serials where it's just a new adventure
Each
every
week.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm okay with either. because
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
How about you, Andy?
Love it. The first episode, I was like, because he didn't talk very much.
Right.
And I was like, okay, is this going to be the whole series? And each episode got better and better, except for 2 episodes ago. It seemed, was that the Tatooine episode?
No, that was
You mean the
one
one
before.
that went to that one planet?
Not the last one, the one before that.
Tatooine episode was.
It seemed very, there was no like high points or
the
anything.
Tatooine planet with the assassin.
I think so.
Yeah.
And, but this last episode was on par. Clancy Brown, got a shout out.
Oh yeah.
And anybody that watched it, did anybody recognize the voice of the droid?
Yeah, the guy from the IT crowd.
Yes. I was sitting there and I was watching this episode because I don't like to
mask. That's just in.
Yeah, with the just a droid over, and I was listening. I was like, I know that voice from somewhere. I forgot his name. Richard Ayoade. Yeah, Richard Ayoade.
Okay.
And as the episode's going on, I don't like to cheat or anything. I know that voice. And then towards the end, I was like, it's the dude from IT. Yeah.
Cousin
awesome.
Roger.
Somebody just said that to me.
Who's Cousin Roger?
I don't know who's cousin Roger.
What's going on?
So somebody just sent me this picture.
George from Seinfeld. Fuck you.
So somebody just sent us a picture of what we look like.
They swap me.
So it says Yoda dude behind me. Cousin Roger is.
I don't know who that is.
You have to Google that.
We got somebody called Carter Hank because of his voice. Mike, I'm guessing Mike means my brother. And then they said, Andy, you're Kevin Smith.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
And then it says for Reagan, somebody face swapped me. George from Seinfeld.
Apparently, it's a Happy Days reference. Cousin Roger.
Cousin Rogers is a happy day.
Ted McGinley.
Oh, good Lord.
Okay. All right. There you go.
I wish I was that good looking.
What's at the bottom? Is it pointing to Russell or
Where?
at the?
I would have said the
bottom,
chicken's
what does it
the
say?
chicken's husband from
Right
Married
here?
with Children.
That's the same guy.
At the
Yeah.
bottom.
That's what I would've
George
said.
from Seinfeld.
Oh, okay.
I think I look more like Sheldon than I do him.
Let me
Sheldon?
see that again.
That's funny. Oh man.
Good Lord.
So how about you, man? Talk your expectations for The Mandalorian so far, where it's at. Bryce Dallas Howard, how do you think her directing style was?
Ken Smith.
She was the one that did the Village, I believe.
Yeah, I think
I didn't like that one.
the Tatooine.
I thought it was too cheap. No, not that one. The Village one where they were getting attacked.
Oh, with
The one with the
Yeah.
Gina Carano?
with the chicken water.
Yeah, I thought it was a little cheesy.
That's the episode that gave me the feeling like, hey, we're just going for one episode.
One mission after another, and yeah, because I felt like the whole relationship where she's like, "Oh, you can settle down with this widow and have it." I was like, really? Like he just met her. I actually thought the Tatooine one was one of the best ones.
Right.
And a lot of people crapped on it online. They're like, "Oh, we're just going back to familiar planets," and
My only problem with the Tatooine episode.
Cam Solo.
yeah, I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Then I found out that none of it was actually real. It was all shot on soundstage.
And it was, and also the Pedro Pascal was not even the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me. That's one thing I want to ask. So that's just came out that Pedro Pascal isn't playing the Mandalorian. In some scenes, it's actually him because production started earlier and he came on a lot later. As a Star Wars fan, are you able to forgive that, or does it make you mad?
I'm able to.
You're able to forgive it?
But it's I don't know who to give the credit to because I don't know if it's as the show progresses, I'm getting more and more attached to the character, and I'm starting to be able to read body language. And
Sure.
I don't know if that's Pedro Pascal or if it's the stuntman is actually doing a better job at conveying his emotions than Pascal.
Right.
But I'm okay with it as long as it's basically anything Favreau does to me is like some of the best work that's being done in Hollywood today,
Sure.
all across the board, not even just The Mandalorian. So I have faith in him.
Some of the special effects in The Mandalorian, has that bothered you guys? Sometimes you can tell it's TV effects. Other times it looks really theatrical. Has that taken you out of the show at all?
Not me.
I've heard that depends on what TV you're watching it on. The screen you're watching it on.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you're like watching it on your phone,
Really?
As long as Baby Yoda is a puppet and not CGI, we're okay with that.
I like see, a lot of people said, why do we gotta go back to the same planets we've already seen? But I was like, it's cool to see what things are like since the Empire's fallen and how
Yeah.
things are. You heard the droid tell him at the cantina. He's like, yeah, the bounty
The
thing's
fact
really
that there's droids running the camera.
yeah. He's like, the bounty doesn't really operate out here now on Tatooine anymore and all that. And it's just like a lot of things have changed. You know, you see all the stormtrooper helmets now on top of the pikes and all that. You know, I like the fact that they're showing how things are in other places and stuff. I mean, the effects must be pretty cool because even the people that crapped on that episode, they're like, "Oh man, it's just like Tatooine again and everything." They're like, "Oh man, I wonder where they shot that. Was that Jordan? Was that Egypt or something like that?" And then Favreau's on Twitter like, "No, that was all soundstage." And they're like, "What?"
And it was actually, I have a friend that worked on it. It's in California, like in the desert a little bit, in Santa Clarita. So yeah.
Who do you know?
Who do I know?
Yeah.
Just somebody that's a set there.
He knows a guy.
He knows a guy.
He knows a guy who knows a guy who paints for some guy.
Okay,
That's pretty cool.
Fan theories on the. Before I'd seen it, he said something about boots, but it's at the end of the Tatooine episode with the. I guess it's spurs. Sounds like jangly.
Carter's got some theories.
Boba Fett.
Yeah,
Yeah, Boba Fett.
I think Boba Fett's alive.
he's one of them. Yeah.
Yep.
I think
If
he's
y'all are
alive.
familiar with the Clone Wars series, some people think might be Cad Bane.
Okay.
Dave Filoni went on Twitter because somebody asked him, "Was like, what's the Spurs represent?" He goes, "I don't know. Who do you know that wears Spurs?" That's all he said.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood.
He meant in Star Wars.
Oh, in Star Wars. Okay.
Star Wars.
Jesus.
What are we talking
Well,
about?
where's the cowboy?
What podcast is this?
Who's that
Yeah.
guy?
Okay. How about you guys? Do you have anything you want to talk about, Mando?
Yeah.
I
Go ahead.
I love the show. My biggest complaint is some of the episodes are just too short. They're
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
That's,
like the Tatooine
And too
episode.
dark.
The Tatooine episode was what, 35 minutes long.
Yeah.
Have
Have y'all had the issue with that? Because half the time I'm watching them, they seem like they're too dark, like they're not lit up enough.
Yeah, when they're a lot of times when they're inside and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like you need to turn up the contrast on
I
your
did.
television.
No, it's on my phone. Yeah.
I really don't have a whole lot to say that's bad about it. I have a few little nitpicks here and there. I mean,
I like it. I think it's fun.
watching my kids not have to worry about,
I think everybody's curious what's going on with Baby Yoda. Like, where's he supposed to be going? Who wants him? Somebody brought up an interesting thing on Twitter recently when I think it was after episode 3 or 4. It was like maybe somebody's trying to clone him because they found the secret to cloning all that, and it has something to do with the Emperor.
Do you think? Let me ask you guys this: do you think Baby Yoda will play into Episode 9? Because let me tell you this: recently, we pulled up a interview the other night. I think all of us was. Who was there when we pulled it up?
Don't remember this.
Was it you? Yeah. Okay. When we
Yeah.
came here the other night, you, me, and Chris,
Yeah.
we pulled up an interview, and it's Ian McDermott, and he's talking, and in the background is the ship or the little pod
It's the pod that Baby Yoda is
that
in.
Baby Yoda was in, and they were on the set of Episode 9. Does Baby Yoda play in Episode 9 somehow?
Maybe like 25 years older now, though.
Well, he's 50 years old
Now,
and he's like technically 2 years old.
so in Rise of Skywalker, he'd be like 75 because.
So he'd be
75, 80.
Yeah, 75, 80.
Maybe he's
pretty young.
talking or
Baby
something.
Yoda and the baby thing.
Yeah.
Because in the other background corner, you see cloning machines.
I don't think they would do that
You know?
because
No.
Mandalorian hasn't finished yet.
Do you think?
Mandalorian
It's
hasn't finished
finishing
yet, so
like
why would
right
they
before
release
Christmas,
it?
right?
I could almost guarantee. I'm just saying this spoil, but I can almost guarantee you, Baby Yoda has nothing to do with Episode 9.
Right.
So do you
I
think-
also heard that Ryan Johnson recently gave an interview where he was talking about being on set of The Mandalorian a few weeks ago and saying that the Baby Yoda, so they were saying that Baby Yoda will definitely be in the second season of The Mandalorian,
Mm-hmm.
but that's because a few weeks ago that they'd already wrapped on, they're already starting season 2, so.
Let me ask you guys this, and those watching at home. Do you think the Emperor will play into the Mandalorian?
No.
Do you think we'll see him? No.
Maybe.
No.
Not
No,
in season 1.
Yeah, not in season 1.
No.
Oh, Mandalorian takes place after.
That's
right. Never mind.
It's 5 to 7 years after.
Right. I'm getting
Return.
my timelines crossed.
You gotta get Disney Plus.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe not the Emperor, but what about Snoke? Do you think he'll turn up?
That would be awesome, I think, because they didn't really. I was one of the things that I didn't like about
Jedi. The Last Jedi?
The Last Jedi was how they just killed him off, and it was like, what's his purpose?
Okay.
So I would like to know his backstory.
I hope.
So if y'all are interested in Snoke, I got something.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
That's probably of interest.
Is that the-
Oh.
I'm gonna get that tomorrow.
Are we going into your
So I finally got to read this for a preview for the store.
and for those watching at home? What are you holding up? Because I don't think they could see it.
This is Star Wars: The Rise of Kylo Ren.
Ooh,
So
Rise of
it-
Kylo.
It kind of gives background after the Jedi school is burning, and he runs across. Well, all right, kind of spoil it, Snoke. So
Right.
Yeah.
and we don't know how he gets in with the Knights of Ren, but it's coming. This is like a 5-issue series, I think.
Whew.
That sounds really
So,
I can't wait.
so it's actually a really good series. I've been a little disappointed lately with some of the Star Wars books, but this one's been really good.
Are you saying that the Knights of Ren is going to be a different series, or is it?
No, it's gonna be a part of
I
this.
sent
It's
something.
part of
Open
this.
it up and
I think Disney Plus is going to eventually
Just
do a
like it.
prequel series with Kylo Ren, showing his adventures with Luke, how he trains, how he gets seduced to the dark side, all that. I think they're going to do that
Yeah.
because there's still people like, well, how did he get seduced? How couldn't Luke could not stop him or whatever? And they address it a little bit in Rise of Skywalker. It gets addressed.
I have some theories about Snoke. And I know he's going to tell me I'm wrong, but
I don't want to.
I think Snoke is just a projection of the Emperor, right?
I'll tell you you're wrong.
You're
Just to
wrong.
change things up a bit.
Okay. All right, Reagan, you'll tell me you're wrong. You'll tell me I'm wrong. Here's the reason why I think Snoke is a projection of Emperor Palpatine. If you look at his face shape and the facial structure, it's almost the same as Emperor Palpatine in a way. And if I was going to call him Luke. Yeah, if Luke is able to Skype himself from one planet to another to fight Kylo Ren,
Force Skype.
Force Skype, why can't the Emperor do the same thing with Snoke, but just as a projection of a different, being? Because he says in episode 3 that he knows how to cheat death. So why can't he Skype call in, and then when Kylo kills him, it's just a projection that he's killing, and it's not really the Emperor. And then in the new TV spot we heard lately was the Emperor saying that
At last, my boy, he's like, I've been every voice that you've heard inside your head.
right. Has anybody seen the new TV spot yet?
Nope.
No.
Where Kylo meets the Emperor.
So thanks for saying that.
It's all over YouTube.
I haven't seen it.
Sorry.
I've been trying not to. So
Spoiler.
So thanks.
It was in a trailer.
Yeah, it was like a minute and a
Didn't
half
want
teaser
to know that
trailer.
in the trailer.
Right now, we're going to head into the segment of looking back at this trilogy as a whole so far.
Before
So,
we do that, though, I just want to say I had a dream last night that the Emperor went back in time to possess Baby Yoda.
What were you?
what?
I'm just telling you, I had a dream last night.
No more
I
chili
had a
before
dream.
bed.
No more
In
what?
the
No more
dream,
chili before bed.
No more chili before bed.
I think it was McDonald's, actually.
Wow.
Oh,
that
man.
was. I'm just letting y'all,
God.
I had Star Wars in my brain.
Jesus.
And that's what came out.
right.
The latest Star Wars dream I've had was. Well, hold on. Wow, that was a jalapeno. I was not expecting that. Oh my god. The latest dream I've had was I've come home from work and Tristan, my wife, she has replaced me with Chewy. So she's in the kitchen cooking and Chewy is there cutting up onions and stuff. And yeah, my point, what is this? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm no longer being with you. I'm staying with Chewie. Of course, him. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's some.
Let's
That's
let the Wookiee win.
That's some.
I
That's
would have
some
to
love
say,
series.
Yeah.
my wife was going to cheat on me.
Cut
What?
by a
You think
Wookiee.
yourself as Han Solo?
Man, I wish I was Han Solo.
Okay.
Hey guys, I'm Han Solo. I can't even do Harrison Ford's voice, but it was strange. So after that, I woke up and I told her, and she's like, "Yeah, I might as well be married to Chewie with how hairy you are." So not that you didn't know that, but I'm Italian. I'm a hairy guy. You don't understand. Well, you see when my shirt comes off.
He's screwing with you.
I'm kidding. I know he is. I know Reagan's humor.
Are you sure?
No.
Can we go down another path before this?
Yeah,
goes
this
down
is
a path
getting
we don't
even more
wanna go
awkward.
down?
So let's go back.
Has anybody else had Star Wars dreams recently?
You've never had
Really?
one. Really?
I know your wife's right there. But come on, you've never had one Leia dream.
We've all thought about Carrie Fisher. We've all thought about her.
How about you?
I'm sure I have had one. I have vivid dreams, but I can't think of one off.
When you're in a robe or something like that, you got a lightsaber in your hand.
How about you, man?
Not in a long time.
In a galaxy far, far away?
Yeah.
There you go. Had to throw that in there. And The Last Jedi. And let's talk about some. I know we've talked a little bit of it, but let's talk about our favorite parts of the trilogy so far. And Carter, we'll start with you and we'll work our way
Okay.
down this way.
So we're looking back at just the sequel trilogy, right?
Sequel trilogy. Yeah.
Okay. Favorite parts. Let's see. I love the introduction of Rey in Force Awakens. I love the music and all that stuff. And
Sure.
I just love the setup. I love. Let's see. I love the introduction of Kylo Ren. And I love the progression of that story till it kind of gets set on its ear in Last Jedi, of course.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot I like about Last Jedi, except for maybe the throne room. That's about the only thing that really caught me.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to seeing how Rise of Skywalker corrects the ship. So,
Sure. Okay. Russell, how about you?
It's been so long since I watched any of them. I have literally only watched The Last Jedi one time, and that was when I
What?
saw it in theater. Yes.
I don't blame you.
I'm gonna go back and watch it, but I pretty much refused to watch it after that because
Wow.
I was just so offended by it.
yeah.
Really?
But
Don't sound
I
so
love
shocked.
I love BB-8. I still think R2 is better. But I mean BB-8's cool. I love the intro of Kylo Ren. I thought Rey's intro was pretty good until they started with the whole like she's better than. I mean, she's like so good and so great until, even though she has had no training whatsoever, that part kind of was. I was just kind of like, huh. But
I don't get it.
wait, and one of the things that really bothered me about The Last Jedi was they tried to make like they tried to do the Marvel comic humor, and it's Star Wars is the humor in Star Wars is just different. It just is, and that kind of bugged me.
Oh, you mean that humor?
Yeah.
God.
Go ahead, Chris.
Y'all got that?
Throwing
Lightsaber,
the
yeah.
lightsaber over your shoulder.
How do you feel about it? Go do your rant, man. I know you.
I'm not gonna do a rant. I was scared of Disney buying Lucasfilm because I really, I mean, I'm not. I know people love Disney and I like their cartoon movies. I like Toy Story and all that. But when they bought it, first thing that came to my mind is, oh God, now it's going to be treated like a property. Now it's going to be treated like a product. They're gonna lose the essence of it, And everyone was like, oh, it's still going to have the magic because it's Disney. Disney knows all about magic. And I was like, for animated movies they do, but
Everything else they run into the ground.
yeah. But I that's actually one of my favorite scenes in the whole new trilogy is the introduction to Kylo when he comes down to the planet or whatever. That's
Yeah.
pretty. He goes, look how old you become. You know, and he's talking to the Lord Santeca. I love that part. I don't think The Force Awakens is bad. I think it's good. I like it. It's popular. You know, it's fun. I'm with a lot of people that feel like it's kind of a rehash of A New Hope and Empire and all that. I really feel like there's a lot of similar. What? You can't say it's not.
It has to be though.
No, it doesn't.
Yes,
No,
it
it really
does.
doesn't.
It has.
I will argue with
A
this.
Force Awakens has to be almost A New Hope because we haven't had a Star Wars movie in how many years? And how many people have stepped away from Star Wars after the prequel series? So of course you have to have those callbacks and that nostalgia and that feel to get people to come back to Star Wars.
Thank you. She
What?
shook her head no.
No, why don't you agree?
It's Star. All you need is the name Star Wars.
Who hasn't been keeping their children up to date with what was good?
Right.
You know?
Preach,
Okay.
woman, preach.
I've even been keeping my mother. It was me and my grandfather when I was a kid that went through the whole Star Wars thing. My mom saw maybe one or two of the movies.
Yeah.
But when I found out that the sequel trilogy was coming out, when we moved here to Waco and we built a little movie room in our house, and I sat my mom down. Actually, I took my mom to see Solo at the theater.
I love
I'm sorry.
So, but before we saw Solo, I sat her down and we did it all chronologically.
Oh, there you go.
So
Yeah,
we
this is a
started
clean
with the Phantom Menace, and we went all the way through to Rogue One, or not to Rogue One, to right before Solo, and then we went and saw Solo in the movie theater, and then I showed her The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi at home, and now the last movie that she has to see is. And even she says that it's repeating itself.
Yeah.
It's and it really you don't need to. You want to cater to the kids, I get that, but you can have a character or something that as long as it's not Jar Jar.
Everybody hates Jar
Or
Jar.
you could have
There's a
element
reason.
of the story that caters to the kids, but you really want to see a progression in the story. You don't want to see the same thing.
Couldn't disagree more, or couldn't agree more. Sorry,
Okay.
I said it wrong. But no, J.J. Abrams was asked that by Rolling Stone recently. He was asked that in the interview. He said, "What?" He goes, "What do you say to the critics and the fans that say, oh, this is too similar to the original? Why did you make Force Awakens so like the Death Star, Starkiller Base, this and all that?" He pretty much said what he said. He goes, well, we were trying to bring them back to the Star Wars universe. He goes, but could you have done that without having to do all that? He says, we could have. He goes, but I felt like it would be it would be the best way or easiest way to pull it back in.
Right.
Yeah.
I also read that he was really.
He just said it anywhere. I don't care.
I think that J.J. Abrams did a great job rebooting the Star Trek universe, but he
I'll grab it
said
just a
that he
second.
was
Thank you so much,
really
ma'am.
nervous rebooting the Star Wars,
is that hot?
coming in because he felt like he was constrained. He had to do like the way Lucas would do it with the fade-ins and the fade-outs, and so. But then he also said that after Ryan Johnson said screw it, that now he feels a lot more in control. I'm excited for the ride.
If y'all ever get a chance, y'all. I mean, I know people don't like to listen to 25-minute interviews, but he has an interview with Peter Travers from Rolling Stone, and it's a video interview on his so-called popcorn talk or something like that. It's actually a really good interview. He doesn't ask no like question or what was it like to make the movie. He actually asked him some deep cut questions, and JD's like looking at him like, damn, you're putting me on the spot and all that. And he asked him questions about Leia, well. So you had to change your story for 9 to revolve around the footage you kept of her from 7. Doesn't that mess up the story? And he goes, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. And then he explained what they did and all that. And he goes, I know fans are going to be worried about that. Like, well, man, you shot those scenes for a different story, for a different script. But he explained himself, and it's a really good interview. Yeah, it was called Popcorn Talk, whatever, with Peter Travers on YouTube. It's like 25 minutes long. It's just him and Abrams sitting across from each other talking and all that. But I feel like Disney's kind of ruined Star Wars. It's my personal opinion. I feel like they have. I
think they feel like they had because they said that they're not going to make any more movies for a while.
Yeah.
I think they feel like they've run it into the ground.
I feel like they were like over. I'm not. when The Force Awakens came out, I didn't see it in the theater right away.
Really?
I didn't.
Thank
see
you, ma'am.
It was
Thank
about
you.
a month.
Thank you.
It had been out for about a month,
Yeah.
and then I went and saw it, and I wasn't disappointed, but it was like everybody's saying, it felt like A New Hope with a new cast of characters.
Right.
Yeah.
But then her friend actually gets screeners for Academy Award. So we saw Rogue One. Was it before it was in the theater, or was it? Anyway, when I saw Rogue, I was hesitant to see Rogue One, but when I saw that Vader scene, it sucked me back in, and I was like, okay, I don't care.
Oh yeah.
You know, and then it was like up and down. Then Last Jedi came out. There was elements of it I didn't like, and elements of it I liked.
Sure.
And then Solo came out, and I thought Solo was great. I thought it felt like Star Wars.
Right.
And so I feel like Disney's kind of been.
See, that's
Oh, they're right up there.
that's my thing too. I love Solo, and I know a lot of people hate it. Sure, there's a lot of what?
I hate Solo.
Really?
See, I even have a Solo tin. That's how much I love Solo. I don't know. Solo is on the nose a lot. And I don't know. There's just something about it that really I have fun watching it. You know. Now I don't understand why Darth Maul ended up being in there. We really didn't need Darth Maul. Spoilers for any of you at home who hasn't seen Solo, but
Everybody needs more Darth Maul in their life.
yeah. But the whole lighting of the lightsaber and then switching.
I'm gonna wrap up my little.
Okay,
thing.
okay, I'm
No, I'm just
sorry.
gonna wrap up with because you brought something up. I don't think fan service is a bad thing in movies.
No, I
A
agree.
lot of people say fan service is bad. You know, a lot of people who are fans of Game of Thrones like, oh, it's all fan service and all that. It's not in the book and all that. Okay, whatever. That's different. Star Wars was never a book. It was a movie first. J.J. Abrams said there's going to be some fan service in this movie, and there is. There's some fan service in it, and a lot of people were complaining online when they came out of the world premiere, like, "Oh, there's too much fan service and all that." You know, they don't take enough risks or whatever. It's like, why is fan service a bad thing? You know, people said like, oh, the throne room scene, where Snoke dies and all that. That's fan service where him and Rey are fighting. I was like, if it's fan service, if it supports the story, then it's not fan service. It supports the story. My thing with fan service is if it's something where you're like, oh man, that's really cool and everything, but it does nothing to move the story in the next scene. That's fan service. There's times in Star Wars where we've had a lot of fan service, but it actually works and all that, And Bob Iger said at the world premiere, he was asked by Variety on the red carpet, and I don't really like his comments. And somebody pointed out to me on Facebook, is like, man, that's kind of a political thing to say. He goes, well, we don't really listen to fans, and we don't try to overreact to the fans' responses and comments and all that because they're not the ones coming up with the story. We are, so we feel like we put out a good product and all that. I'm like, so basically what you're saying is you don't think the fans matter. You don't care what the fans think, which is kind of insane to say as the head of the biggest movie studio in the country, because the fans don't show up and like your crap. You're not going to sell them tickets.
Exactly.
And I've heard so many YouTubers that have said like, oh, it doesn't matter what the fans think. It doesn't matter what the fans think. Yeah, it kind of does. The fans kind of built Star Wars. So if you're going to sit there and say that, but you are a fan, then you're literally saying that, oh, we don't need you, but yeah, you do and all that. So fan service is not bad as long as it helps the story. That's all I wanted to say. As long as it helps the story.
Right.
So,
I guess I gave my little piece to why I love The Force Awakens, and
I'm really about these on camera.
and I don't know. Have I talked about what I love about The Force Awakens? One thing I really like that I'm sure all of you guys are going to cringe at, and those of you in the audience that are
Probably.
watching as well. I didn't hate when Finn picked up the lightsaber. I was kind of hoping for Finn to have, when he picked it up, and he ignited the lightsaber. I thought, all right, Finn is also a Jedi. He's got force powers too. This is going to be the first time we see a stormtrooper having force powers.
They kind of alluded to that
In the trailers. What I liked about that, because they kind of took it away from Rey,
Right.
which is brilliant marketing for them, because I'm sure if they would have marketed that Rey was a Jedi, everybody kind of would have shied away. But I thought that was awesome when he picked up the lightsaber and, he tried fighting Kylo. I also like that. I also liked watching that. For the first time, I felt like Harrison Ford was having fun as Han Solo. Now, I
Because he knew
don't
it
know.
was
Does
his
anybody
last
else
time.
get that feeling? I know it's his last time being Han Solo.
30 million helps out a lot too.
Yeah, being paid 30 million does help out. But
Do you think he was like, he's gonna die in this one? So
Yeah, I think he was just happy he was gonna die.
Probably.
He even wanted to kill
But you know when
Finally.
when he had Chewie's blaster and he shot it off, he's like,
Yeah.
I like this. You know, he just seemed like he was having fun. But one thing we learned still after how many years of him being on screen, Harrison Ford cannot run for shit. Even as an old man, he can't run.
Hey, here's my thing. Him and Chewie have known each other for what, 40 years?
Yeah,
He's never used that blaster.
apparently. Real quick, I like to give what?
Not that I'm aware of.
He's just an extended universe.
I like to. Somebody's asking for us to say hello, Grayson and Vanessa.
Hello.
Thank you guys for tuning in and watching. Hello. Yeah, and Force Awakens. What else do I like about it? I kind of like that when they're running, when the First Order comes and they're like, "What about that ship? You know, that hunk of junk or whatever."
Oh, yeah.
Am I saying the line right? He's like,
That
"What
was
about
garbage.
that one?"
That was garbage.
That was garbage.
The garbage will do.
Yeah. So I thought it was fun. I saw it
I think
the opening night, and then I went back at 9 a.m. to see it again with my buddy Nick Hillman. So I saw it in less than 24 hours.
Who didn't laugh their ass off when Finn goes like this to BB-8? He shoots that little thing with a little plane.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was funny.
At first,
I
you
think
know
I beat you, Dom.
why?
I saw it with my family, and then we saw it, and we were like, "Well, that was really good." And then we saw it the next showtime.
Really?
Yeah, so we saw it like twice in the same.
I saw it as an employee.
Yeah,
Well,
so-
I didn't have that luxury at that moment.
We didn't have an employee screening. I was closing that night, and my GM came in and she was like, I'd finished closing, and she was like, "Well, I'm gonna go in there and watch Force Awakens. If you come in there, I won't see you there."
That's fun.
Because Disney had told us no employee previews.
Really?
I think we can all agree Force Awakens was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun.
It was fun.
It was exciting.
It brought back that feeling.
Right.
Yeah,
I think you had a good point with that. Like it might not have been necessary, but it really felt like
Right.
really Star Wars, and it was a reminder of everything. I think they could have done it a different way where they didn't do it so much with Dwight and Sam.
Oh,
Yeah.
they had an original idea that the Michael Arndt guy that wrote the script, they tossed it out because they said it wasn't vibing with what they wanted to do. It was based on George's treatments and all that, where Luke was actually going to show up halfway through the movie and start training her.
They showed new force powers too, like with Kylo making that. That was one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
The blaster ball.
Yeah.
Force
Yeah,
freeze.
I hope we see some of that in episode 9. And going to The Last Jedi,
He doesn't
Um,
use it in Rise of Skywalker. Or
No, he doesn't.
Force Awakens.
Force Awakens.
no, he doesn't use it in
Last Jedi.
Last Jedi.
No, he
He
doesn't.
never uses it.
It's
like, dude, it's cool.
Ryan Johnson is a great filmmaker, but when it comes to storytelling for Star Wars, Chris can probably agree with me. Probably Carter and Russell. When it comes to Star Wars, he should have been nowhere near it because he made a movie that he wanted to see. What's the word I'm looking for?
He was at the celebration in Orlando. The guy asked him, he goes, how did you come about making this movie? He said, I saw Luke at the edge of the cliff in the end of the movie. He goes, and I thought, what happens next? What would I like to see happen next? And that's all he said. That's all he said.
Which I find that very scary, but at the same time,
And he said Lucasfilm had they had no interruption with him whatsoever. He had freedom on the set every day. They said he said there were some times where Kathleen Kennedy just told him on a video chat, like, "Hey, do your thing."
but yet Kathleen Kennedy steps in and she fires D&D. I don't know if you guys know who D&D is. They made
Okay, well, after season 8, get him
well,
out of there.
but no, they stepped away because the fandom. D&D made Game of Thrones.
yeah.
Thank you. And Phil Lloyd and Chris Miller were making Solo, and they got fired. And
I still want to see that version.
apparently it's out there.
The whole Dryden Voss was a completely different actor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
black guy.
Black
Yeah.
guy from Half and Leonard.
Yep. and they said it was scheduling conflict, so they had to bring in Paul Bettany.
Right.
So I don't know. I also, what did you guys think about the porgs?
They're fine.
Eh.
I love the pork.
Yeah.
They're not
That's what I'm
bad.
talking about with like for the kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you bring in an element like that where it's not hurting the story, it's
Sure.
not helping the story, but kids are going to relate to that.
Okay.
That's kind of what Star Wars is. You know.
I'm kind of mad that Chewie didn't eat the porg.
Yeah,
He should have ate it.
That was funny. He
That
just
was
ate
funny.
He just sitting there looking at it, and the pork just looked like.
Do you think the porgs are going to make it in episode 9?
No,
No.
No,
No.
no, because they're not going back to that planet.
they've got a whole new droid. So
Yeah,
the
they
pork-
got the hairdryer droid.
The hair dryer.
Yeah, it looks like a hairdryer.
Yeah, pretty much.
I forgot about him.
So that's what I love about this trilogy so far. Oh, also, one more thing. Kylo's temper. That is
Yeah.
badass.
Yeah.
I mean-
It's reminiscent of Luke.
Yeah. Luke is
Reminds me of
That
my
was
brother.
the best thing in the sequel.
Kind of remind me of Anakin in episode 2.
Right.
A little bit.
And that's like the prequels is what I appreciate about when you see Anakin's progression. You're like, that's why Luke is so whiny, you know?
yeah.
That's where he gets.
Watch it. Watching a video called "Greatest Teacher Failure Is." It's by HFP or whatever. It's like a fan video and all that. It's all the movies mixed in together. I don't know how long it is, but there's a thing in there where it actually mirrors Anakin and Luke, and you'll see all the similarities and all that. It's called "Greatest Teacher Failure Is." It's actually because you see the scene in episode 2 where he throws the rock or whatever he throws, and he's talking to Padme. The exact same time you see Luke throwing the same thing in the thing with Yoda, and Yoda's like he has no patience. You know, it's like they're like the exact same people.
That's crazy. Andy, your favorite moments of the new trilogy?
Of the new trilogy. Okay. I want to expound a little bit on your Finn has powers deal.
Okay.
Because watching the movie, I like to go in as blind as possible, especially for Star Wars. I like to be surprised. And of course, we had the trailer. Watching the movie, Finn has this reaction right before Kylo shows up. And so in my head, I'm thinking, okay, why is he reacting to this before Kylo ever gets there? And then when Kylo's down there, at some point, I think it's when he's going back into the ship or whatever, he's like, and he looks at Finn, and they like have this moment, and I'm like, okay, maybe this guy's gonna have force powers or something. And of course, it doesn't turn out that way, but it sure seemed like they were trying to steer it in that direction. To me, I loved Kylo losing his shit. That was kind of awesome. And because you've never really seen anybody, you know, you've seen Vader, but he's always been very kind of, you know, like your lack of faith is disturbing. You know.
Did you use this?
Yes. I think I didn't use that one.
Sorry.
And you know, you've never really seen anybody like throw a tantrum in Star Wars before, and especially throw a tantrum with the lightsaber.
Yeah.
And those scenes are awesome. There's the one where the guy's just standing there and he's going, ah! And then when the two stormtroopers are coming down the hall in the next one, and they're like, yeah, we're going this way. Have you seen The Last Jedi since you've watched Knives Out?
I have not.
Nope.
Okay. Watch it again. For some reason, okay, I watched The Force Awakens today. I didn't watch it. I had it in the background as I was getting ready. And I put on The Last Jedi. And for some reason, there's like a new light on the movie. I don't know why, but I appreciate it a lot more. And I don't know if it's because I went and saw Knives Out and was, you know, I expected Knives Out, which is Ryan
Dylan.
Johnson.
Do y'all know what that is? Knives Out.
Such
It's
a good
Ryan
movie.
It's actually a really good movie.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's really good. Very clever,
And,
very funny, very dramatic.
I like the Marvel movie humor, so it doesn't bother me in the Star Wars. Star Wars has always been funny. Maybe they're taking it a little far, and I know there's that spot in The Rise of Skywalker where they're like, they can fly now. They can fly now. They can fly now.
I feel like the reason why these guys, I mean, that doesn't bother me, seeing that scene. I can see why it kind of takes people out of it when they first see that clip because you don't know the context of the scene.
Yeah.
Which I feel like
Well, there's also like that's like the first scene in The Last Jedi is him sitting there and making a "your mama" joke. It's stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like I said,
Y'all feel like the humor worked
Sometimes,
sometimes?
a little much.
I felt the beginning of what?
It felt like forced.
Yeah,
Forced.
it felt
Can
really.
he hear me? Kind of tall, a little pasty. I don't know.
I felt like the beginning it didn't feel like, I mean, the space battle was awesome, but it felt like Battlestar Galactica for me. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it.
It's a remake. The sci-fi.
Yeah, the sci-fi. It had that feeling. The beginning of it had that feeling, at least for me. Reagan, your thoughts about the new trilogy? Oh, you're not done. Okay, I'm sorry.
I forgot what I was going to say. What did you say? The funny stuff. Okay, if you go back and watch Force Awakens, Poe has a very odd sense of humor. His first interaction with Kylo Ren, he's like, do you go first? Do I go first? Something about the apparatus. That's Poe's humor. Now maybe they took it a little far, but
I didn't even
because I watched it, like I said, I watched it today back to back, and I was like, okay, that's on par for Poe. But
Okay, let me ask you this: since the movie's been out for what, 2 years? Right?
yeah.
Are you able to watch it now and forgive the things that made you upset when you first watched it? And this is for you guys too as well. Are you able to go back and watch it now and forgive?
No.
No, I see a lot of head
But
shaking
I
now.
Honestly-
watched it with my mom in chronological order, and for me, it's just the first half of the movie is just too corny to forgive.
Okay.
But if you start in the elevator
middle,
right
yeah.
before the smoking scene,
Right.
it's an excellent movie.
Yeah.
I would say start right where Ray and what's his name had their last bond before
Right.
she leaves the island.
Right.
Luke?
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I hate some of it so much. Like I don't even ever want to watch Ryan Johnson.
Really?
I hate it. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I mean, Knives Out is
really
good.
good though.
Knives Out is a really good movie. Yeah.
Wow. That is.
Yeah.
If there's ever one day you're sitting down chilling and
Is it
you and
just-
your wife are just like, you know what, we're bored, let's watch a movie. I would watch it just to give it a shot. And if you're not into it,
Yeah.
I watched it again, and I was like, it's not as bad as I initially thought, but there's just things about it that I cannot get over.
Is-
Past, or I just
Yeah.
and he didn't consult with the story group. The story group would come down and be like, hey, you want to meet with us? He's like, no, I'm good.
J.J. Abrams, he takes The Force Awakens and he built it. I know it's a lot of repetition over the first three or whatever, but but he built a different story arc with different characters that were going somewhere. And Ryan Johnson said,
Yeah.
I don't care about Snoke. I don't care about Rey's past. I don't care about the little buggy that had Luke's lightsaber somehow. He just
Maz Kanata.
he just threw everything in the garbage. Threw everything in the garbage. Threw 40 years of Star Wars and it's trash. Did whatever he wanted, and
I see what you're saying.
I will never get over that.
Is it
I'll never support anything ever.
Wow.
is it just the nephew killer or is it more?
No, it's just a lot of it. It's the fact
Okay.
that he took-
I get what
it's
you're
the fact
saying.
that he took
Yeah.
Force Awakens and
Yeah.
pooped all over it and threw it all.
It seems like a completely different movie.
He threw
Yes.
Everything in the garbage that I've ever known about Star Wars.
That movie is how nobody's talking about him milking that space. That's what ruined it. When I saw that, I was like, what the?
And she looks at him, she's like, what? He's like, yeah.
But you have to remember. You have to remember.
I thought it was funny. That's one of the things that I liked about it.
I thought it was funny too.
But here's the thing. Luke was a farmer at one point, so that's expected of him to milk whatever that was to get the blue milk.
He wasn't a farmer.
Drinking the blue,
Yeah,
The blue milk.
right.
It's been kind of fun. You see it every once in a while. Now you know where
It comes from.
Oh,
It's just the creature, whatever, just sits there and accepts that she's getting milked.
Did the lightsaber over the shoulder make y'all mad?
Oh,
Me too.
God, that
Me
pissed me
too.
off.
I was like, because there's a lot of people. There's some people behind me when I saw on the premiere night, and they were just looking at me, and I can hear them over my shoulder, and they're just like, "Really? We waited 2 years for him to throw it over his shoulder?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah."
And I can get some of the, the jade. I can get him to get a little bit jaded, a little bit upset about stuff. but
Right.
He's just kind of a He's not real likable, and he's not, it's like, it's really like a, I don't know, I can't.
Crotchety Luke is what I like to call
I
him.
can't, that's my.
I'm with you
You're messing with
100%.
my
I'm with you
hero.
100%.
Yeah, yeah.
I disagree with it.
Hey, Mark Hamill feels the same way you do. He said the first time he read the script, he goes, oh my God, I fundamentally disagree with everything in this movie.
And everything that I've ever learned about Star Wars is right.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I
I think if anyone could have stopped the movie being made like that, I think it could have been Mark Hamill. If he'd have just said,
people on Twitter told him to shut up. They're like, oh, you're not the one making the movie. Just, and he's like,
I think if he'd have said, if he'd have after reading the script said, I want no part of this, they would have fired Ryan Johnson.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, they had to. I don't know what kind of deal that Ryan Johnson made to get the leeway that he did
Yeah.
with the Last Jedi.
Even
But
afterwards.
yeah, but I do want to say that I think maybe my my thing with the Last Jedi has changed or turned or whatever you want to call it, because this guy has seen the movie, and I didn't ask for any spoilers, but I was like, do they explain this? Do they answer the questions they didn't answer in Jedi? And he's like, yeah. Like almost everything gets explained. And I'm like, okay, well, and maybe that's it. I'm like, okay, I can forgive Ryan Johnson now because they fixed it. They fixed it in post.
And that's not a spoiler. That's not a spoiler. Like,
Hey, George Lucas, they fixed it in post.
Yeah.
Abrams even said that Ryan Johnson didn't do anything that he had to.
Yeah. He didn't
Yeah.
change the story enough to.
he
Yeah.
changed it up. But does anybody know why Colin Trevorrow was fired?
yeah.
Yeah.
He Peter Travers asked him about that in that Rolling Stone interview. He said, what happened with Colin? He goes, did they not like his ideas? And they said that they said that the direction that his script was going, they're like, oh, we don't like that. He wasn't going to bring back the Emperor and all that. He was going to keep Luke alive, or he wanted Luke alive because he was going to do something when in 9. And JJ said Kathleen and Bob Iger just didn't agree with the vision he had for 9.
I think that's ridiculous.
And before we get to Russell, I know he's been waiting.
No, that's Reagan.
I'm sorry.
Russell's that way.
I get y'all confused because your names start with R's, and I'm getting
How
old and
dare
crotchety
you.
Like this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I just want to say, just to piss off all the hardcore fans, that I'm waiting for the Ryan Johnson special edition of Return of the Jedi when Luke says, I'm a Jedi like my father before me. And instead of throwing his lightsaber like this, he throws it over his shoulder.
I'm waiting for Ryan
I'm
Johnson.
sorry. I just thought about that. I was like, that would be so hilarious. And we can blame George.
I'm waiting for Ryan Johnson to commit seppuku as an apology.
Oh my god.
I don't know, guys.
Okay.
You know what's crazy? My bad. You know what's crazy? In a lot of the reactions on on Twitter from the World
Wait,
premiere.
we'll get the reactions.
No. I was just on what y'all commented about.
Oh, okay.
Everyone's saying about all he was saying about do questions get answered from Last Gen and all that. Like almost every person that saw the world premiere that night went online. That's all they said. They're like, oh, I love the fact that they answered questions. Now we got answers. That's all anybody was talking about was, oh yeah, they answered all the questions finally. I would have been mad if you come out of the movie and everything, you're just like, well, who the fuck are her parents?
That kind of reminds me of I don't know. There's a movie out there where they're always asking like a question, but it never gets answered. You know what? I don't know. Forget it. Reagan, we'll go to you.
Okay, so I watched Last Jedi today actually, and I've really hated on that movie. But I watched it today, and I'm like, there's parts that I'm like, all right, that's unforgivable. You
Right.
can't forget that. But it's not terrible.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, throwing the lightsaber over the shoulder, terrible. I hate it. It's dumb, and Luke Skywalker would never do that. He calls it a laser sword. And he
does.
He partly says it in mocking Rey because she's like, "You think I'm just gonna walk out there with a laser sword?" And it shows how
fend off
dumb
the
she
entire.
is. But also he wouldn't do that because he's Luke Skywalker and he knows that there's value to a lightsaber.
He actually does fend off.
Yeah, and then that's exactly what
at
he
the
does.
very end of the movie. Exactly what he does.
Does he though?
Well, he does.
He Skypes himself out there,
Yeah,
so
but,
technically
They didn't know that.
He did hold off the entire army that was coming at them
That is
with
true.
But-
if you want to go that route with a projection of the laser swords.
But I think it makes sense that he's a broken man. He had his daughter's son, or no, his
His
sister's son.
Whoa,
And
that
yeah,
would've been-
yeah. Well,
If Leia was his daughter.
daughter.
Woo, that's a
There's no
difference.
incest in space operas.
He had his sister's son that he was like supposed to protect, and that was his responsibility to like
Right.
train him and make sure that he isn't bad. And then he's like, "Uh-oh, wait a minute, this is bad. This is going to turn really bad.
Sure.
I got to do something with this. And if I don't, my sister's going to be pissed at me. My best friend's going to be pissed at me, and there's going to be this terrible guy released on the world, the universe, and that's going to be on me." And so like. And then he fails. And it's like,
I think it was more Han and Leia's fault than his. I think they failed as parents.
that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
They failed as parents?
Yeah, because in The Force Awakens, in that scene, he tells her and all that. He goes, when we lost Ben and all that, and she's like, yeah, we both went to the life that we always knew of and everything. She's like, I went back to being this. You went back to being a smuggler. He never wanted to be a father. Even in the extended universe and the comics and all that, he even told Leia in one of the parts that he didn't know why his son wanted to be a Jedi. He's like, why you want to be that and everything? There's a better life out there for you.
Well, I think they went back to their lives after they lost Ben.
Ben.
But I mean, so the point is, he had this responsibility and he failed. Kind of like in the prequels, where the Jedi Council has the responsibility to stop Vader and the Emperor from doing what they do, and they fail, and they go into hiding with Yoda and Obi-Wan.
Okay.
You kind of get there, and Yoda has spent time meditating, and he's kind of,
Sorry if I hit you.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
he's kind of not like he is in the prequels, and then Obi-Wan's definitely very different. And so I think it makes sense for Luke to be a little kind of grumpy, like he's failed. And you look at the Jedi in the prequels, and they did fail. They failed big time, and they
yeah.
were very hubris.
Do you think we look at The Last Jedi and we look at the way Luke is because, or we look at Luke and we see how he is and we feel a certain way because as a society of Star Wars fans, after so many years and so much content of Star Wars throughout the years, do you think we put Luke on such a pedestal that anytime there's flaws or he's changed in any certain way, we feel that's not my Luke Skywalker? What the hell did you do to him?
I think so.
Lucasfilm did that.
What?
Lucasfilm was responsible for that. They put him on a pedestal. We didn't. They promoted him to the galaxy that he was the hero. He was the savior.
Well, that was the
To a-
original trilogy.
No,
Right.
right. Even in the comics, in all the books and all the comics, he was in the extended universe. He was put him as the master, the guy that would even surpass Yoda as a Jedi.
He
So
was.
is that
That's what he was.
how do you feel? I see your facial expression over there.
I know. I think because we've known the character so long that we kind of have a set of rules we think this character should follow. So
Right.
when it deviates, it upsets us. So
Okay.
I think any audience that has a deep invested interest in a character, when it changes, they pisses them off.
Right.
You know?
Okay. All right.
And
Go ahead.
another thing about Snow.
No, go ahead.
Okay, hang on.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, and everybody, okay. You think about a person's character and the essence of kind of who they are and what they represent, and it's just who they are.
Right.
So fallacies are fine, quirks are fine, going off the track a little bit's fine or whatever, but when you change the very essence of what this person represents and who they are and who they've always been,
Sure.
and you completely change. Like, I'll never hurt a dog. I never hurt like an animal. There's just things I won't do. Like, there's just things in me that I can't do and I won't do. I just feel like you got to be careful with what you do with characters you create on paper or on film or whatever.
Yeah.
They're not real. They're fake. You know.
Yeah.
Build them up, all that stuff, our imaginations and all that kind of garbage. But they're also written a certain way and made a certain way to where when you deviate from that, it's not believable. It's not plausible. and it doesn't make sense.
Sure.
And I feel like they kind of did that a lot, and I don't.
I think the biggest complaint is that Luke's failure was done off screen. And if we had seen him trying to stop it, him trying to like get with Kylo and be like, dude, you're doing bad. Let's fix this. And like,
And Kylo's like,
you know, you see
whatever,
that he's like
Uncle.
exhausted all of his options. And then he's like, there's nothing else I can do. I have to try to kill him. Like, I think if that had been done on screen, maybe like a mini series or like a, I don't know, in the movie itself, you could understand more how Luke is in The Last Jedi.
Let me ask you this. Would you have been okay? All right, in Last Jedi, we see flashbacks of Luke failing.
Yeah.
In the everything. Would you have been okay with actually seeing like a 4-minute clip of like a montage of training and seeing Kylo falling in the rise? I'm sorry, in The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Do you think, and what do you guys think? Do you think that would have been better to see that happen in The Force Awakens, and then by the time we get The Last Jedi, we as an audience member already know, and then we see
You expect Luke to be a little different. Than
we
we
expect Luke to be different, and then we see Kylo telling the story and Luke telling the story, and us as fans and viewers were able to determine which story is correct.
I think that would have been better. Because also when you see Luke at the end of Force Awakens, you kind of get the feeling like he knows everything that's going on in the movie.
Right.
And he's standing there on top of the mountain pondering, what's my next move? Now
Yep.
I got to get involved.
Yeah.
And then
He throws it and walks away.
And like
Yeah.
I said, I think that's unredeemable. You can't like say throwing a lightsaber over the shoulder even makes sense at all, because he's still a Jedi and he still should respect
The
what a
code.
lightsaber stands for. and
I
all
like that, the
stuff.
code.
Like there's still value to
He's
it.
gonna burn all the knowledge and everything.
This is
Yeah.
Come on.
He stops though, and then Yoda's like, whatever.
It only stops because Yoda showed up.
one of the
Really
greatest
stop-
parts of the whole movie.
I mean, they still have the books. Yoda knew that they still have the books.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where he took them.
And of course, Luke didn't, and he's
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna burn it all down. He's like,
I admit
"Wait a
that scene was funny. He goes, "You read them? Heavy page turners there or not?"
minute." I think it would have been better
Oh,
if
sorry.
we had seen what Luke saw inside Kylo in that moment when he's delving into his mind. And I think it would have been helpful. It might not have been
Well, you watch that
redeemable.
Scene, there's a
Oh,
hear
yeah, you can
screams.
hear audio.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
like
yeah.
screams and
But
stuff.
I think,
that he hears.
as a people, we're kind
As a
of we're kind of
Did he do
visual.
anything
I mean,
that
we go
Dad
and watch
didn't do?
movies. Huh?
Yeah.
Did he do anything that his dad didn't do?
Who?
Uh,
Luke?
No. Kylo Ren. Did he do anything that Luke's father? Did he do anything that?
But
Darth
at the
Vader
same
did?
time, Luke's like,
He
okay,
killed babies.
he could
Yeah.
He killed so many people. He tortured people. Evil.
Well, maybe if Luke could go back in time and stop his father,
Yeah.
he might have.
Yeah.
And he saw good in his father. And he saw light. And he never
Yeah.
went there. And he threw down his lightsaber. I won't kill you. I will not kill my father.
Yeah.
I'm a Jedi like my father before me.
But at the same time, this is all post Vader. You got to think about that. And this is pre Kylo Ren. I'm not arguing with you. I totally understand where you're coming from, but it's like, okay, he's got this responsibility. And not only did he fail as an uncle and a Jedi master, he had the rest of the Jedi Order that he was training. So all of his students, he even says, he took a handful of students with him and they slaughtered the rest. So in that situation, I can see Luke being disheveled or whatever. But you also got to think that the sequel trilogy is the end of the Skywalker saga. So Leia, Luke, Han, Chewie, all the originals, they can't be the heroes. We can't expect Han Solo to come flying on the Millennium Falcon and save everybody. We can't expect Luke to go out with the laser sword and stop
You can't in a
and blow
way.
up the Death Star.
You can't in a way. Just because
Yeah,
they're old,
but I
just because
mean-
they're old, and they're from another trilogy doesn't mean they can't still be a part of
But
that
that
story.
means that we need to just take Rey, Finn, and Poe out. And it's just like,
Well, you might as well because they haven't had no story anyway.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm playing devil's advocate
Yeah.
for crotchety Luke.
I think
you
I think I understand where you're coming from, Reagan. I understand, but the only thing I'm gonna push back on the argument of where Luke's coming from. You don't things can happen, things change. The only thing I'm gonna say is, but Lucasfilm is almost like Lucasfilm is expecting you to understand, to read Luke's mind and be like, okay,
Right.
what would I do in this situation? But
Right.
yet he's supposed to, based on what Lucasfilm has said, he's supposed to be the hero, the guy that runs above everything. And I mean, he took on the entire empire by himself.
That's why I said it should be shown on screen.
I feel like they should have done something in The
Yeah.
Force Awakens and all that.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Well, he even says that when he's talking to somebody. He's like, I blew up the Death Star and then I was famous. And that's
I do love that scene though, where he's talking to Ray about that. He's
Yeah.
like, he goes, he goes, I'm the one that took down Darth Sidious and all that. He goes, me, Luke Skywalker, a legend or whatever,
Yeah, that's hard to live up to, especially when you fail. And I mean, that's got to be a serious blow to anyone, Jedi or not.
He even has that comment where he says that Kylo is stronger than Vader, I think, at one point. I could be wrong on that.
The darkness. I think he just
Yeah.
saw something really dark in him. or
Yeah.
saw something we don't.
He has a stronger
He
connection
wasn't
than
afraid when he saw it in his father, but
yeah.
when he saw
Because
it
I've seen this raw power once before. It didn't scare me enough then, but it scares me now.
I don't.
Yeah.
He says that to Rey, and I
Yeah.
think he's talking about Kylo
right.
Yeah.
in that.
Yeah.
And so I wonder.
See, it's almost
if
a double
something's gonna
meaning
happen
kind
to
of.
Rey in Rise of Skywalker. Because
She wants Rey to turn evil.
Well, not in a bad way.
Not in a bad way.
I-
I wanted to turn evil. but not in a
I'm with
bad
you though.
way.
I wanted her to be a Dark
Okay.
Lord of the Sith from the very beginning.
I've
I
heard.
kind of wanted to see them switch.
That would have been sweet.
Yeah.
That would have been
I've heard a
sweet.
theory that Rey could be like created of the Force, like Anakin was.
You're not completely wrong.
What about the fact that the
Hey,
prequel
spoilers.
trilogy delved into the fact of getting into the science of the Force?
Right.
And
The mini
then-
chlorians.
And then you're led to believe
Do not say that
Don't-
word.
You're led to believe that okay, now the Empire is or the old Republic is gone, so kind of that's like a back. The whole galaxy was taking a backward step in technology and knowledge and everything.
Right.
So that's why they didn't discuss it in the original trilogy. But why are they not discussing it at all in the? I know George Lucas's plans were to go even further into
Yeah.
the
M word.
control the hills and stuff.
Yeah.
It seems like Disney is.
He-
I appreciated the original trilogy, how it kind of left it up to
Sure.
you to decide what the Force was.
Yeah.
I still don't get midichlorians.
But
think
the Disney trilogy seems to be trying to get back to how the original trilogy treated it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And just discounting the entire prequel trilogy.
Yeah.
I think technology hasn't changed at all in Star Wars since the original trilogy. Because you look at all the ships, and they're the exact same. Like, the wings are a bit longer or whatever. Like, I mean, like, they're X-Wings and they're TIE fighters.
They're just shot differently.
Like, they don't look like you watch. I've been watching Clone Wars recently, and all the ships are so much different. And you can see, like, that's prototype for
They
this.
put
or whatever.
chrome at a nos.
And so I don't know if that's on purpose or if it's just, oh, well, there has to be X-Wings and TIE fighters in Star Wars.
You're going to see Paul Walker in the next one.
But I think,
And James Dean.
I don't know where I'm going with that. But I wish there was some like new cool ship or something. Like, I don't know. The technology looks the same.
Which y'all's one favorite single sound in Star Wars? The sound that just gets you every time.
Chewie's roar.
Chewie's roar.
Chewie.
Or the crackling
Huh?
ozone, lightsaber. going
Lights out.
off. Yeah.
Okay. What about you? What about you? Lightsaber. What about y'all? What's y'all's one favorite single sound?
R2 when he screams.
R2 when he screams.
Yeah.
What about you, Reagan? One sound.
The hum of the Force is really cool. And like, it's kind of really subtle, but like every time there's the Force, it's like,
Yeah, like the burning ozone.
yeah.
I've always
Yeah.
wanted to meet Ben Burke. So
What about you?
I mean, it either be like I can't pick just one, but it's really close tie between like Chewie, R2D2, like his happy noise, and lightsabers turning on.
Man, nobody brought up. Oh yes,
I would have to say the sounds of the Ewoks. I'm just kidding. Totally kidding.
nobody brought up
Totally
a TIE
kidding.
fighter.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
or
I
however
was
it
gonna say
sounds.
TIE
Oh.
Fighter because I was watching today because my
Yeah,
he'd
please.
asked this before and I'd said
Yeah, well, these.
actually
Yeah.
the sound
All right, we're gonna pull them
that
up.
the Death Star makes right before it fires because he goes.
Right, yeah.
I always liked that, but then I was watching Force Awakens, and when they're trying to take off in the TIE Fighter, it's going.
I like y'all's pick of Chewie though, only because that sound is so significant. And a lightsaber, that like as soon as you hear that sound, you think, "Oh, that's Chewbacca." That's in like the lightsaber. You
Seen that
don't.
new commercial with the Chewy rescue dog?
Yeah.
I like the AT-AT blaster sound.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
When the,
All right.
The AT-ATs.
Okay, so here we are. We're going into our last topic, or
Segment.
our last segment, which is questions, where people online send us questions into the show, and then we read them back and give our opinion on it. And then also, if you guys have any final questions too, you're more than welcome. Once we're finished these, I just sent them to you, Chris. You're more than welcome to ask away.
How?
What? I just sent them to you text message.
I got it.
I got it.
Oh wait, I didn't. I'm sorry.
I got him.
You just gave it to me.
Select.
I got him.
You got them?
I got him.
All right. So let's go ahead and pull these
I got
up,
him.
and we'll go to the first question, which is sent to us by James. And James says, "Hey gang, if Yoda was still alive and have trained Kylo, do you think Kylo would have fallen to the dark side?" Who wants to take this question first?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He couldn't stop Anakin.
True. How about you?
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you guys? Yeah.
That's not obvious.
Okay. Reagan, take the next question.
Oh god. Hey cast. Do you think the Sith troopers are leftover clones from episode 2?
No,
Nope.
No.
I say yes.
they all died by the time Return of the Jedi came out,
Mhm.
Yeah,
or by the events of that.
they have a short lifespan.
Yeah.
Really, really old men.
Yeah, you know what? They're in Rebels. Rex and them are in Rebels, and they're really old and whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. So no, I don't think so.
Andy, you read the next question.
Okay, this question is from Jamie Willow. I've always wanted to know, how did Kylo Ren find Darth Vader's burnt helmet in Episode 7?
Easy.
Mm.
He probably went to Endor and found it.
Endor?
Or one of the characters could have taken it off of Endor as a souvenir.
True.
True.
Nope.
Nope.
Maybe Luke
Nope.
took it and had it in the.
As a relic or
Yeah,
No, I don't
Maybe.
think so.
What do you guys think?
that's just me thinking. I don't know.
Are you like spoilering?
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
a
Oh no, I reviewed these questions. There's no spoilers in here.
actually this gets discovered in Rise of Skywalker.
Okay,
You
then
find
we'll,
out.
then we'll jump. Chris, take the next one.
Ryan
Ryan.
Conaway, Dom, who is Ray's parents, and don't tell me junk traders.
Well, I'm sorry, Ryan. They are junk traders.
Skip that.
They were nobodies. They were slavers.
All right, Russell, read the next one. Emily Green.
Stop talking about Rise of Skywalker spoilers. Like, please, like I'm being
Stop.
real.
Yeah.
Okay.
seriously.
Like, I don't want to know anything about it.
No, we're not gonna spoil nothing.
Hey guys, my question for y'all is: do you think we'll get a George Lucas edit of Empire with Maz Katana in the background? Please, God, no.
With her at the end catching the lightsaber.
Yeah. Please, God, no. I don't think I can
Hey.
take another.
She catches it. She like puts it in her coat.
This is an interesting question though. Has anybody ever seen this? There's a oh man, I can't remember who did it, who posted it.
Backs in the background.
At the end of Empire Strikes Back, there's actually a post on the special edition. There's actually a post-credit scene where you actually see a lightsaber rolling on the floor of the thing or whatever of the ship, and somebody grabs it. It just shows a hand pick up and grab it. That's all you see.
Nuh-uh.
It's the Empire Strikes Back special edition. There's actually a post-credit scene. I don't know if it's still there or not, but there was a post-credit scene because somebody asked George Lucas about it. He goes, "Hell, I didn't shoot that."
Sure.
I just want to say,
all this is like a glove. It's like somebody has a black glove on, and they reach down and they grab it.
I just want
I've only seen it once.
Okay.
that my special edition version of Rise of Skywalker at the end. This is no spoilers. This is just pure fan retardedness. at the end of Rise of Skywalker, all the Force Ghosts show up, and James Earl Jones is in the back behind whoever's going to be Anakin / Vader, and he's like.
All right.
Sorry.
Whoever's next, take Nick Gower.
All right, from Nick Gower, with the clip we've seen of Dark Ray, do you think that could be the Emperor making Ray fight Kylo?
Ooh.
I mean, it could be.
But the clip we've seen of Dark Ray, do you think that could be Emperor making Ray fight Kylo? Maybe. That's all I'm going to say is maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it could be.
Maybe.
So it's some kind of manipulation.
Only
or-
he knows.
Yeah, kind of like Luke in the cave on Dagobah. That's what I got. From that.
When he sees the face in the helmet.
All right. So Dana Harding asks, Campfire on Dagobah gang. With Baby Yoda being everywhere, do you think he will play into Rise of Skywalker?
No.
Thoughts? We've already talked
No.
about this.
Yeah, no.
No. Reagan Reed, Nick Reeves.
You guys haven't played
Gazooks.
Jedi Fallen Order yet. Do you think it'll play into episode 9?
No.
I haven't finished it,
I
so I don't know.
haven't played it, but I've read some things that say that it plays not into episode 9, but actually into
Episode 3?
The Last Jedi. There's parts in the temple on Ahch-To that are similar to this race in the game that's supposed to be
Little Easter
the
eggs.
First Jedi.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, there you go.
All right.
I still haven't played it.
That's a great game.
So there's one more by Ashley. Do you want to take that?
Sure. Ashley Brady asks, when JJ said episode 9 will combine all films in the Skywalker saga, do you think they will even make a callbacks to Rogue One?
Ooh.
I don't know what they mean.
Is that technically in the
yeah.
Skywalker saga? I mean, I know it's in the timeline, but is it?
There's a Skywalker
Technically.
in it.
It's just an adjacent. type
Yeah,
sort
it's
of-
kind of a. It's kind of.
I don't know how you
Spin
go
off.
back to that.
I don't know. Well, that concludes our viewer questions. If you want to know how do you get a question on the show, simply shoot one of us a message online or send it into the domchildashow@gmail.com. And now we're going to open up the floor for you guys. Do you have any questions to ask us? It could be anything that you want to know in the world of Star Wars or in general about anything while we're up here. Ooh, Wedge.
Do you want to know?
No.
No.
No spoilers.
No.
No spoilers. No spoilers. How about you, sir? You're good. Do you have any questions back there for us?
Are you done yet?
I want to go home. All right, guys. Well, that will conclude our show. Thank you guys for coming out and watching with us, and thank you to everybody that's still tuned in and watching. We appreciate it deeply. And this is going to be one of those moments again where I have to get up and awkwardly turn the screen off. So
Our super cool wireless USB thing don't work.
it is. I didn't plug it in like a fool.
You are a fool.
So once again, thank you guys for coming out. And remember, kids, let the Wookiee always win. And say goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, everybody.
The force be with
Porgs
you.
are friends, not food.
2 more days.
Can you get through there? Porgs are friends, not food.
And then we have a special clip for you guys.
Is this the